Tonight, as you close your eyes and let your thoughts drift away, imagine a world long before ours. The air is warm, and the ground breathes softly beneath you. The sky stretches wide and dark, filled with stars that shimmer like quiet lanterns hanging over an ancient land. A soft rain falls, not cold, not heavy, just enough to kiss the earth with gentle rhythm. Each drop lands on wide fern leaves and rolls down their edges like tiny beads of light. The sound is steady, like a slow heartbeat, calm and endless. Mist rises from the ground, curling around old stones and roots that have been there for ages. The air smells clean, like new earth after rain, full of life that has only just begun. Small plants glow faintly under the starlight, their wet surfaces catching every shimmer from above. The wind moves slowly through the trees, touching everything it passes, softly brushing the edges of ferns, bending tall grasses, carrying the quiet hum of insects through the night. In the stillness, time itself feels slow. The land is not yet busy or loud. There are no footsteps of humans, no voices, no rush. Only nature, breathing, dreaming, waiting. In the distance, the horizon glows with a faint silver light where clouds meet the stars. Somewhere beyond those shadows, life stays. A shell moves slightly in a nest made of leaves and mud. A tiny crack appears, shining pale in the moonlight. The world holds its breath. From inside the egg, a small sound, a faint tapping. Then another. The shell splits open, piece by piece, until a fragile creature pushes through. Its skin is damp and thin, shining softly under stars. It blinks for the first time, eyes wide and curious, seeing a world full of mist and color. The air feels heavy but safe. A soft trill escapes its mouth, a sound that has never been heard before. The baby dinosaur lifts its head and looks around. The rain continues to fall, but gently now, as if careful not to frighten this new life. Tiny droplets slide down its nose and gather on its eyelashes. It takes one shaky step, then another, its small feet pressing into the wet ground, leaving delicate prints behind. Around it, the forest glows in pale silver light. Every movement feels slow, peaceful, like the whole planet is whispering a lullaby to its newest child. In the distance, a soft rumble of thunder rolls across the hills, not fierce, not frightening, just the sound of the earth stretching and sighing. The baby looks up at the sound, still blinking, still learning. A gentle breeze moves through the trees, carrying the scent of rain and leaves. Somewhere high above, the stars shimmer like eyes watching kindly over this tiny being. Nearby, ferns sway with calm rhythm. Little creatures rustle softly among the roots, curious but careful. The forest hums like a living song, slow, warm, ancient. The baby dinosaur curls close to the ground, tired already from the small miracle of being born. Its breathing slows. The rain becomes a whisper, falling so quietly that it sounds like sleep itself. The night deepens, and the stars shine stronger. The land feels alive and at peace. Somewhere, another egg stays, and another. Life is beginning, one breath at a time. The earth glows faintly with warmth beneath the rain, holding all this gentle creation close to its heart. Now, the world rests again. The rain fades. The wind stills. The forest dreams. And the first baby dinosaurs, small and new under the starlit sky, drift softly into their first sleep, safe beneath the endless rhythm of the ancient rain. The night slowly fades into a soft, glowing dawn. The air grows lighter, the rain turns to mist, and the first golden rays of morning slide gently across the land. The ancient world awakens slowly, stretching beneath a sky painted in pale pink and quiet amber. Somewhere in the stillness, hidden beneath layers of ferns and leaves, lie the beginnings of giants, small, fragile eggs waiting to open. Each egg is warm to the touch, no larger than a coconut, smooth and speckled with colors of sand and stone. Dew gathers on their shells, glimmering like tiny jewels in the soft morning light. Around them, the earth hums with quiet warmth, holding them close, keeping them safe. No footsteps disturb this hidden place. No sound breaks the calm except for the rustle of leaves and the gentle drip of water from the trees above. Inside each egg, life stays softly. Tiny hearts beat slow and steady, in rhythm with the earth's own pulse. The shells are thin yet strong, holding world within them. Small, dreaming creatures that do not yet know the sky or the sound of wind. The morning air smells sweet, like damp soil and blooming ferns. Time feels unhurried, almost sleepy. The world waits. Then, a sound, faint, almost lost beneath the rustle of the forest. A small, rhythmic tapping. A heartbeat turned into motion. The first shell begins to crack, a single line appearing across its surface. The sound is delicate, like glass breaking far away. Another crack follows, then another, until the shell trembles. The creature inside pushes with quiet strength, piece by piece, until at last, the top splits open. From the broken shell, a tiny head emerges. Its skin glistens, smooth and damp, catching the golden light that filters through the leaves. It blinks once, slowly, as if waking from a long dream. The baby dinosaur is small, barely larger than a bird, but its breath steams. Faintly in the cool air, its chest rises and falls with soft rhythm, fragile yet determined. Around it, other eggs begin to stir, the gentle chorus of life unfolding at dawn. Cracking sounds echo softly through the clearing, like rain on stone. One after another, eggs break open. Tiny claws push, tails twitch, and small voices chirp, quiet but full of wonder. The nest becomes alive with motion, not chaotic or noisy, but calm, like ripples in a still pond. The pink morning sky glows brighter, and light touches each little form, drying their wet skin and warming their bodies. The mothers, tall and watchful, stand nearby. Their shadows stretch long across the ground, but their movements are slow and patient. They lower their heads and nudge the new hatchlings with care, cleaning bits of shell from their tiny faces. The babies respond with faint squeaks, eyes still adjusting to this new, wide world. The parents' breathing is deep and steady, filling the air with a quiet rhythm of protection. The nest smells of earth and sunlight, of warmth and promise. Steam rises from the ground as the first heat of day meets the cool of morning. Somewhere far off, a river hums softly, its water gliding over stones. Insects shimmer in the light, their wings catching colors like glass. The whole world seems to pause and listen to this new beginning. The baby dinosaurs wobble as they try to stand. Their small legs tremble, their tails drag, and their feet sink slightly into the damp soil. But they try again, slow and steady, learning balance with each breath. They look up, their eyes wide, reflecting the glowing sky. For the first time, they see light. For the first time, they feel warmth not from inside a shell, but from the great heart of the sun above. The morning grows brighter, but the peace remains. The mothers gently guide their young from the nest, leading them toward open ground where tall grasses sway in the wind. The babies follow, stepping carefully, heads low, voices soft. The sound of their tiny feet on the earth is quiet, almost like the sound of rain. And as the sun climbs higher, painting the world in gold, the small shadows of these newborn creatures stretch long behind them. One day, they will become enormous, their steps shaking the ground, their calls echoing for miles. But for now, they are only soft breaths and tiny hearts beneath a pink sky, surrounded by calm and morning light, safe in the arms of a still sleeping world. The air grows softer as the sun rises higher, turning the pale pink sky into a quiet shade of gold. A light mist drifts across the ground, wrapping the land in a dreamy haze. You can almost feel the warmth beneath your feet, a slow, steady heat rising from the heart of the earth itself. The world is alive, not only in the trees and rivers above, but deep below the surface, where fire sleeps and breathes in silence. Somewhere on a gentle hillside, a group of dinosaurs has built their nest close to the ground's warmth. The soil here feels different, rich, soft, and full of quiet energy. Thin threads of steam rise through cracks in the earth, curling like breath in the cool morning air. It is not the wild, burning heat of fire, but a calm, steady warmth, the kind that comforts rather than scorches. The nests are circles of woven grass and leaves, shaped carefully, each holding several smooth eggs. Around them, the mist drifts slowly, almost like smoke from a hidden fire far below. The air smells faintly of minerals and rain, clean and sharp, mixed with a sweet scent of new life. The earth hums softly beneath everything, a sound too deep to hear but easy to feel, a quiet promise that warmth will remain through the night. The mother dinosaurs move slowly through the mist, their large bodies making gentle ripples in the fog. They lower their heads, touching the eggs lightly with their noses, checking their temperature, making sure each one rests in the perfect spot. The warmth rising from the ground keeps them alive, just enough to replace the sun when clouds pass or when the nights grow cool. A thin layer of steam settles over the eggs, wrapping them in moisture and comfort. Tiny droplets gather on their shells, glistening like pearls. The heat beneath them flows in waves, invisible but constant, a natural cradle made by the world itself. No fire needs to be built, no shelter carved. The earth provides everything. Far away, a volcano breathes faintly, its slopes dark and still, but from deep inside, its quiet power travels through the rock and soil. It reaches these nests miles away, not as destruction, but as life. The warmth rises gently, spreading through the ground, keeping the air around the eggs soft and safe. The dinosaurs seem to understand this balance, that the same earth that can roar and shake also nurtures with patience and care. A soft wind drifts across the plain, pushing the mist into delicate shapes. It moves between the nests, across ferns, and over the curved backs of the resting mothers. Their skin glows faintly under the sunlight that filters through the haze. Insects hover lazily above, their wings catching bits of gold light. The air feels heavy but calm, like the world is holding its breath in peace. The sound of the land is slow and low. You can almost hear the pulse beneath the soil, deep, steady, endless. The babies inside the eggs are asleep, floating in their small, warm worlds. They feel the rhythm of the earth under them, the slow movements of heat, the quiet lull of time. Each breath, each heartbeat inside those shells grows in harmony with a deep hum below. As the day goes on, the mist begins to fade, rising into the blue. The nests stay warm, hidden among the grass and ferns. The air sparkles faintly with moisture, and the ground continues to breathe its gentle heat. The mothers close their eyes for a moment, resting in the comfort of this living earth, knowing that beneath them, fire moves slowly, kindly, without rush. And as the sunlight filters through the last drifting cloud of steam, it seems to whisper across the land. The earth is not only a place to live, but a mother too, old, patient, and endlessly warm. The day moves slowly across the ancient world. The mist has lifted, but the air still feels soft, wrapped in quiet warmth. The nest lies safe among tall ferns and sunlit grass, the small eggs resting under the watchful eyes of their parents. The land seems calm, but every sound carries meaning here. The rustle of leaves, the call of a distant bird, the hush of wings that sometimes glide across the sky. The mother dinosaur stands close to the nest, her wide body shielding the eggs from the wind. Her skin shimmers faintly in the sunlight, marked with patterns that blend with the earth around her. She does not move much, only breathing slowly, her long tail curled gently around the edges of the nest. Each breath she takes is deep and steady, a quiet rhythm that tells the babies beneath the shells that they are safe. Nearby, the father stands taller. His head lifts high above the ferns, scanning the open sky. The world is peaceful, but he knows that peace can change. Shadows move across the ground from time to time, the wide wings of pterosaurs gliding silently overhead. They circle far above, drifting like clouds, their shapes sliding across the grass and trees below. Their wings make no sound, but the parents watch them carefully, their eyes calm but alert. From a distance, you can see how the light plays over this scene. The sun glows softly through a thin layer of haze, making the air shimmer like water. Dust and pollen drift in slow spirals, catching the light as they fall. The sound of life fills the forest, quiet trills, gentle footsteps, the buzz of insects moving lazily from leaf to leaf. Yet beneath it all, the parents never stop listening. A lizard scurries nearby, its small claws scratching over stones. The mother lifts her head, just slightly, watching. The lizard freezes, then slips quietly back into the grass. Nothing more happens. The forest relaxes again. The wind moves through the trees, bending the ferns in smooth waves, like water rippling across a pond. The parents lower their heads once more, and the moment passes like a slow breath. The babies inside the eggs feel the world change around them. They feel the shadow of wings, the cool breeze that follows, the deep heartbeat of the parents through the ground. They do not yet understand danger, but they know the comfort of being guarded, the warmth that stays steady, the voices that rumble low and soft above them. Sometimes, the father moves closer to the mother, pressing his head gently against haze. It is not a sound, but a gesture, a quiet promise that he is there, that they are both watching, always. Together, they turn toward the sky again, eyes calm but sharp as another pterosaur drifts by far above the treetops. Its wings stretch wide, the sunlight glowing through the thin membrane like gold glass. It is beautiful, not frightening, just another part of this vast and living world. When the wind shifts, the scent of rain returns. Clouds form slowly at the edge of the horizon, their undersides glowing with light. The air cools, and a soft wind ripples through the field of nests. The parents stand side by side now, the mother's head lowered near the eggs, the father's gaze still fixed on the open sky. Small sounds rise around them, the hum of early rain, the far-off cries of other herds, the whisper of the coming storm. But still, the nests remain untouched. The rain will be light, the wind will be brief. The earth beneath them is warm, and the sky above, though wide and restless, holds no harm for now. The parents stay still, their silhouettes outlined in gold as a last bit of sunlight drifts through the mist. And when night begins to fall again, stars peek through the slow-moving clouds. The pterosaurs vanish into the distance, their wings lost in darkness. The air becomes cool and blue, and the only sound left is the steady breathing of the great guardians who watch over their young, patient, silent, and full of love that needs no words. In the calm between day and night, the ancient parents stand as they always have, keeping watch beneath the stars. The ground is quiet, the sky peaceful once more, and beneath them, the tiny hearts within the eggs beat softly, surrounded by warmth, safety, and the unbroken care of the ones who never look away. The night fades into a pale, golden hush. The world glows with the first light of morning, calm and endless. The air feels still, heavy with warmth and promise. Around the nests, the ferns glisten with dew, each drop trembling in the soft breeze. For a long while, nothing moves. The forest waits. The earth breathes. And then, a single sound, a tiny crack, delicate as a whisper. From beneath the layers of woven leaves and soil, a small shell begins to tremble. The mother stays, her great shadow leaning close, her breath moving like a gentle wave across the nest. Inside the egg, a heartbeat quickens. A small beat presses against the thin shell, pushing, resting, pushing again. The world outside is bright and full of sound, but the little one knows only this rhythm. Press, pause, breathe. The shell cracks once more, then opens slightly, letting in a soft thread of light. The baby's skin glows faintly under it, pink and golden, damp with newness. Another breath, then another. Slowly, the creature pushes free, sliding from its egg into a world both strange and beautiful. Its body is small and fragile, its eyes still closed, its chest rising and falling in slow, careful rhythm. For a moment, the world holds still, the forest quiet, the wind stopped. Even the insects seem to wait. The baby breathes in for the very first time, the air cool and light against its tiny lungs. It exhales softly, the sound faint and trembling, like the sigh of a leaf falling. That single breath fills the air with life, and the world seems to smile in return. The sunlight spills through the trees, slipping across the nest and warming the newborn skin. It blinks once, twice, its eyelid heavy, unused brightness. The light feels gentle but endless, wrapping around it like a blanket. It opens its eyes, wide, dark, and full of reflection. The first thing it sees is its mother's shadow, a soft outline against the sky. The shape is huge, yet calm. There is no fear, only quiet wonder. The mother lowers her head slowly, her breath moving over the baby like a soft breeze. She touches her nose to its head, nudging it closer to the warmth of her body. The baby makes a tiny sound, a note so small it almost disappears into the air. It is not a cry, but a hello, a beginning. The mother answers with a low hum, deep and steady, a sound that vibrates through the ground. Far away, another call echoes, long, low, distant. The sound travels across valleys, through trees, over rivers. It belongs to another of their kind, carried gently by the morning wind. The baby lifts its head, small eyes searching, though it does not understand what it hears. The sound feels familiar, comforting, like a song it somehow already knows. The air is thick with soft noises, water dripping from branches, wings fluttering above, leaves rustling in rhythm with the wind. Everything moves slowly. Even the light seems to drift rather than shine. The baby blinks again, the world growing clearer, the colors of moss the smell of wet soil, the warmth of the earth beneath its feet. It takes a tiny step, then another, wobbling as it learns balance. Each motion is clumsy but brave, each breath a small discovery. The forest accepts this new life without hurry. The mist glows around them, turning every shadow into gold. The baby settles down near its mother's feet, curling into the warmth of her tail. Its eyes grow heavy, the weight of the new world too much for one morning. The mother lowers her head beside it, resting still, her breath slow and deep. And as the light grows softer, spreading through the trees, the baby's eyes close once more, not into darkness, but into calm. It has seen the world, it has taken its first breath, and it rests now in the heart of it all, surrounded by warmth, by sound, by the quiet pulse of a living earth that sings lullabies in every drop of light. A gray sky settles over the land, soft and low. The clouds move slowly, heavy with rain, covering the world in a calm silver light. The air is cool but kind, smelling of wet soil and green leaves. Every sound feels round and distant, softened by the mist. And then, with almost no warning, the first drops begin to fall, light, quiet, endless. The rain touches everything with care. It slides down the tall ferns, gathers in the curves of leaves, and drips gently to the ground. The rhythm is steady, like a song without beginning or end. Each drop makes a tiny sound, a patter, a sigh, a whisper. Together they form a soft melody that fills the forest, wrapping it in peace. The wind does not blow hard. It only moves enough to make the trees sway in slow motion, as if dancing in their sleep. The baby dinosaurs blink as the rain reaches them. At first, they do not move, unsure what this soft, falling water means. Then one tilts its head up, letting the drop slide down its nose. Another blinks, watching the silver beads roll off its skin. Soon, they lift their small faces toward the sky, eyes half closed, letting the rain wash over them like a gentle touch. The cool water runs along their backs, down to their tiny feet, leaving trails of light. The ground beneath them is warm and soft. When they step, their feet sink slightly into the mud, and the earth makes a quiet squish. It's not unpleasant, just another new feeling. They lift a foot, look at it curiously, then place it back down again. Each step becomes a small adventure, a moment of discovery in a world that feels big and safe all at once. Around them, the forest glows. The rain makes every leaf shine. Droplets hang like clear pearls on the ends of branches before falling to the ground with a slow, satisfying drip. Small puddles form between the roots, reflecting the gray sky and the green of the plants above. Ripples spread gently across the surface each time a drop falls. The sound of the rain mixes with the hum of insects hiding under leaves, creating a quiet music that feels alive but calm. The mother dinosaur stands nearby, her large body shielded against the stronger drops. She lowers her head to watch her young, her eyes soft and slow. The babies move around her, exploring the wet ground, their small claws leaving trails that quickly fill with water. She breathes deeply, her breath turning into mist that swirls through the falling rain. Every movement feels gentle, as if even the air is made of softness. The father stands a little farther away, his back turned to the wind, keeping watch. Water runs down his tail, dripping from the tip like a slow clock marking time. He looks calm, almost still, a quiet guardian in the silver morning. His eyes follow the shapes of the trees, the curve of the hills, the soft outlines of creatures in the distance. Nothing feels threatening, only alive, only moving at the slow rhythm of rain. The babies huddle together, pressing close for warmth. They shiver once, then settle, their tiny bodies breathing in the same slow rhythm. Some close their eyes, half asleep while standing, their heads resting against one another. The rain becomes softer, lighter, as if it too is growing sleepy. The sound turns into a faint murmur that wraps the whole valley in comfort. Steam rises faintly from the earth as the warm ground meets the cool rain. The smell is sweet and ancient, a mix of stone, soil, and time. Somewhere in the distance, a bird-like cry echoes, then fades. The world feels far away and close at the same time. Every sound, every scent, every breath belongs to one slow moment of peace. As the rain begins to ease, the clouds open slightly, and thin rays of light fall through the mist. The droplets on the leaves sparkle, turning the forest into a sea of tiny stars. The baby dinosaurs look up once more, blinking as sunlight and rain mix into one shimmering glow. They do not know the words of safety or beauty, but they feel both deeply, in their small hearts, in their warm breath, in the way the rain touches a world so gently. And as the last drops fall and the forest begins to steam with light, they settle close to the earth, eyes half closed, wrapped in the sound of water and the quiet promise of another soft day. The rain has passed, leaving the land fresh and glowing. Thin mist drifts above the ground, slowly rising from the warmth of the soil. The air smells clean, a quiet mix of earth and new water. Somewhere in the distance, the soft murmur of a river begins to call, its sound rolling through the trees like a calm voice. The herd starts to move toward it, slow and steady, their steps gentle on the wet ground. The river lies wide and peaceful beneath the morning sun. Its surface glimmers with light, smooth and silver where it runs deep, rippled and clear where it brushes against the stones. The sound of it never stops, a slow, endless song of movement and life. It does not rush, it flows. It folds itself around rocks, sighs against fallen branches, and moves onward, always gentle, always sure. The dinosaurs gather at the edge, their reflections soft and blurred in the moving water. The adults step carefully, their heavy feet sinking into the damp sand with a deep, steady rhythm. The babies follow, their smaller prints filling quickly with cool water. They stay close to their mothers, brushing against their legs, curious but cautious. Every few steps, one of them pauses to look at the river's shine, as if trying to understand the motion of something that never stops. The first sip of water is quiet. The mother lowers her head, her tongue breaking the surface. Ripples move outward, slow circles fading into the flow. The babies watch, then bend to drink as well. The water is cool and soft, carrying the taste of rain and stone. Tiny bubbles drift across the surface, catching bits of light. Dragonflies skim above, their wings flashing blue and green like living jewels. The sound of the river blends with the breathing of the herd, a deep, calm rhythm that fills the air. A few babies step farther into the shallow edge, their feet disappearing under the clear current. They watch the way the water curls around their toes and tails, how sunlight dances on its surface. Every movement is simple, pure, and slow. Bird-like creatures call softly from the branches above, their voices light and distant. The wind moves across the water, carrying scents of grass, flowers, and the damp bark of trees. The herd stands together, peaceful and unhurried, as if the entire world has paused to breathe with them. Even the insects seem to move in rhythm with the flow, a quiet balance between stillness and life. A baby stumbles in the mud and lets out a soft, surprised chirp. The mother bends low, her long shadow falling across the water as she nudges it back to its feet. The baby presses close to her leg, comforted, its small heartbeat steadying again. Together they stand, their reflections touching in the rippling light. The moment passes like a slow sigh, gentle, fleeting, but whole. The river keeps speaking, a voice without words. It tells of the mountains it came from, of the rains that fed it, of the long path ahead that it will follow until it meets the sea. The dinosaurs listen in their own quiet way, not with thought, but with presence. They belong to the rhythm of it, the sound of water, the heat of sunlight, the cool touch of shade. As the sun climbs higher, the mist fades, and the light turns warm and gold. Dragonflies drift slower now, their wings beating lazily in the air. The herd begins to move again, following the curve of the river through the valley. The babies walk close to their mothers, their small steps matching the slow pace of the giants beside them. Behind them, the water continues to flow, whispering softly to the land it passes through. The sound follows them, faint but constant, like a lullaby that never ends, the voice of time itself, flowing gently beside them through the calm of another prehistoric day. The river fades into the distance, its soft voice becoming only a memory behind the trees. Ahead, the forest opens, vast and green, older than memory, quiet as breath. The air changes here. It grows cooler, wrapped in shade and the faint scent of moss. The ground is covered in fallen leaves that muffle every step, and above, enormous trees rise so high that their tops seem to touch the clouds. Their trunks are thick and rough, their bark lined with the patterns of time. The forest hums softly with wind. It is not a loud sound, but a deep, steady murmur, like a song whispered through thousands of leaves. Shafts of sunlight slip between the branches, long and golden, filling the air with floating dust that glitters as it moves. Ferns spread across the ground like green feathers, their fronds curling and uncurling in slow rhythm. Every part of this place feels alive, but calm, as if the earth itself is dreaming. The herd enters slowly, their steps careful and deliberate. The parents move first, clearing the path with gentle strength. Behind them, the babies follow, heads turning, eyes wide. Everything here is new. The shifting light, the layers of sound, the cool air that smells of wet wood and life. A drop of water falls from a leaf above and lands on a baby's snout. It blinks in surprise, then shakes its head, the tiny motion sending ripples through the still air. The deeper they go, the darker it becomes, though not frighteningly so. The shade is soft, like twilight, broken now and then by sunlight that spills through in golden pools. In those glowing spots, dust dances, and insect shimmer as they move between the ferns. The babies pause often, their small feet pressing quietly into the damp soil. They touch leaves with their noses, tasting them, learning which ones are soft, which ones are bitter, which ones hold water in their folds. The forest has its own rhythm, the slow creak of trunks bending in the wind, the rustle of branches far above, the faint calls of hidden creatures that live unseen among the roots. The parents know this rhythm well. They walk without hurry, pausing often to listen, their long tails sweeping gently over the ground behind them. The babies watch and imitate, copying the stillness, the pauses, the way the adults lower their heads to listen to the earth before they take another step. One baby wanders a few steps away, curious about a beam of light that spills across the forest floor. It steps into it, and the color of its skin glows softly under the sun. Dust motes swirl around its head, and for a moment, the forest seems to stop. Then a shadow moves across the light, a fern bending, a branch swaying, and the little one hurries back to the group, pressing itself against the side of its mother. She lowers her neck, her breath slow and warm, a gentle reassurance. They continue deeper, moving past tall cycads and tree ferns whose leaves spread wider than the dinosaurs themselves. Somewhere above, a bird-like creature glides between branches, its wings flashing silver. The sound of its feathers blend with the wind, making a tune so soft it's almost not there. The babies lift their heads to watch, their eyes wide with quiet wonder. The herd pauses in a clearing where light filters through in golden stripes. Here, the ground is thick with soft moss and tiny plants that smell faintly of sweetness. The mothers begin to eat, tearing leaves with slow, steady bites. The babies try too, nibbling at smaller plants, learning the taste of the forest. Their movements are clumsy, their mouths unsure, but the effort is gentle and full of life. The forest breathes around them, slow, vast, endless. Each tree hums faintly when the wind passes, and the sound travels like a deep lullaby from one trunk to another. The babies lie down among the ferns, their bodies sinking slightly into the soft ground. They listen to the wind, to the breathing of their parents, to the rustle of leaves above. The light fades slowly, turning green to gold, gold to gray. And as the day slips quietly into evening, the forest holds them all in its calm embrace, a cathedral of life and light, where even the smallest heartbeat feels eternal beneath the endless hum of the trees. Morning comes again, slow and quiet, spreading across the ancient land like a sigh. The darkness fades first to gray, then to a soft blush of pink. The sun does not rise sharply here. It climbs like a whisper, gentle and kind, painting the world with colors that feel half-dreamed. The clouds are pale and low, tinted with silver edges that glow as light seeps through them. The air itself seems to shimmer, carrying the scent of dew and warm earth. The forest wakes in color. Ferns sparkle with drops of rainlight, tiny mirrors reflecting the soft sky above. Moss glows in shades of green that shift between jade and gold. Patches of wildflowers bloom between roots, muted purples, faded blues, the color of calm water. Nothing in this world feels bright or harsh. Every hue seems wrapped in softness, as if the air itself has blurred the edges of things so they can rest. The baby dinosaurs step out from the ferns, their skin shining faintly in the new light. Each one carries a pattern, some speckled like sunlight through leaves, others striped in quiet tones of brown and cream. A few have colors so subtle they seem to vanish when they stand still. When the wind passes and the ferns sway, they almost disappear, blending perfectly with the rhythm of the forest. They move carefully through the light, their small eyes reflecting the pink and green of the dawn. One stops to watch a butterfly-like creature drift past, its wings made of soft glass colors, translucent and trembling. Another lifts its head toward the sky, watching the clouds drift like slow rivers. The soft shades of morning fill their eyes and stay there, painting their first memories of the world in peace. The parents stand nearby, calm and still, their shadows stretching long through the mist. The sunlight breaks into ribbons across their backs, each movement catching new tones, gray melting into bronze, green fading into gold. Around them, dust and pollen float gently, turning the air into something almost liquid, full of movement and color. A soft wind stays the branches. Leaves twist and flash with the changing light. The forest floor glows in hundreds of tiny reflections, dew on stones, droplets on petals, water shining along the curved edges of fern fronds. The whole world feels alive but hushed, as though nature is still waking from a dream. The babies explore quietly, their feet pressing into the damp moss without sound. They brush against flowers that leave faint dust on their scales. Some stop to sniff the petals, not to eat them but to understand their scent, sweet, damp, and full of life. When they lift their heads again, small bits of color cling to them, a smudge of yellow on a nose, a trace of purple along a cheek. The forest leaves its mark in gentle ways. Far above, the sunlight filters through thin clouds, creating faint beams that touch the forest like falling silk. The baby dinosaurs move in and out of these beams, their patterns shifting with every step. Sometimes their colors blend so perfectly with the ground that even their mothers lose sight of them for a moment. Then a small head lifts, a tail swishes, and the world finds them again. The colors of this world do not shout. They hum. They move slowly, like water, like breath. Every shade tells a story, of warmth, of rest, of life that grows in silence. As the morning brightens, the pinks fade to gold, the silver clouds turn white, and the soft greens deepen into calm shadow. The babies lie down in the grass, their patterns melting into the world around them. Above them, dragonflies shimmer in the sunlight, their wings throwing tiny flashes of rainbow across the air. Everything feels gentle and complete. The world, for this quiet moment, is nothing but color and calm, a painting made of life, brushed softly by time itself. The morning turns golden as the sun rises higher, spreading warmth across the land like a gentle blanket. The air feels alive again, filled with quiet brightness that touches everything with care. The forest hums softly as mist begins to fade, melting into the light. The warmth moves through the leaves, through the soil, through the still, slow breath of the ancient world. It is not sharp or burning. It is soft, patient, and kind, a steady glow that brings everything closer to life. The baby dinosaurs stir, stretching their small legs beneath the shade of the trees. Dew still clings to their skin, tiny beads of silver that sparkle as the sunlight finds them. They blink against the brightness, not afraid, only curious. The world feels different now, lighter, more open, as if every leaf and stone is quietly waking beside them. The warmth settles over their bodies, sinking deep through their thin skin until they begin to feel strong again, their small hearts beating with a little more power than before. The mother stands nearby, her body soaking in the light. The sunlight glides across her scales, reflecting soft amber tones, glowing faintly like polished stone. She moves slowly, stretching her long neck, her breath steady and calm. The father lifts his head too, the edges of his crest catching light that turns it almost silver. They do not rush, do not call. They simply stand, letting the sun do its work, warming, healing, renewing. All around them, life stays in the same rhythm. Small creatures crawl out from under rocks, their tiny bodies glowing with warmth. Ferns lift their leaves toward the sky, droplets of water sliding down their stems in narrow streams. The air smells faintly sweet, a mix of flowers, earth, and sunlight. Even the wind feels different now, no longer cool but filled with quiet heat that moves gently across the skin. The babies walk toward the open meadow, stepping carefully through the light. The ground beneath them feels warm and dry now, soft and full of life. They pause often to tilt their heads upward, eyes half closed, as if listening to the silence between sunbeams. Their bodies absorb the heat, their muscles loosening, their movements becoming surer. The world around them glows faintly gold, and even their shadows seem softer, blurred by the brightness. The sunlight fills every space it touches, the corners of nests, the cracks between stones, the pools left by the rain. It flows like water across the land, spreading comfort and stillness. The baby dinosaurs lie down for a moment, letting their bellies rest against the sun-warmed earth. They breathe slowly, eyes heavy, tails still. The warmth seeps through them, deep and steady, helping them grow without effort, without hurry. Above them, the sky is vast and pale. Clouds drift lazily, their edges glowing white against the endless blue. A bird-like shape glides far overhead, wings cutting softly through the air. Its shadow passes over the herd for only a second, cool against the warm ground, then vanishes again. The light returns immediately, calm and complete, as if nothing could disturb it. The mothers watch their young with quiet eyes. They seem to understand how important this moment is, not a time for feeding or moving, but simply for being. Growth here does not come from rushing. It comes from warmth, from stillness, from the soft power of the sun wrapping everything in light. The babies stretch their legs, yawn small, wordless sounds, and press close together, their tiny bodies sharing the heat. Hours pass slowly. The shadows shift, stretching and turning, but the calm never fades. The forest hums quietly in the background, insects singing, leaves trembling faintly in the breeze. The world breathes in rhythm with the sun. Even the air seems to glow, filled with floating specks of dust that dance in golden beams. By midday, the warmth has deepened into something almost like a lullaby, steady, endless, wrapping the valley in peace. The baby dinosaurs sleep now, their sides rising and falling in time with the heartbeat of the earth. The parents remain still, guarding but at rest, their bodies outlined in light. The sun watches from above, gentle and sure, its rays falling through the leaves like hands smoothing a blanket over all who live below. It does not hurry, it does not fade. It gives quietly, endlessly, holding the world in a slow embrace. And in that glow, the tiny hearts of the baby dinosaurs grow stronger, not with noise or struggle, but with a silent grace of warmth itself. The afternoon sun drifts slowly across the sky, painting the land in soft gold. The warmth lingers, but the air feels lighter now, touched by a gentle breeze that moves through the tall grass in shimmering waves. The world hums quietly, the distant call of insects, the faint rustle of leaves, the steady heartbeat of life. It is a perfect hour for small discoveries. The baby dinosaurs stand near the nest, blinking in the bright light. For days they have known only the safety of that warm circle of earth, the soft ground beneath them, and the steady presence of their parents. But now something stays inside them, a tiny pull, a spark of wonder. The world beyond looks wide and glowing, filled with strange sounds and new shapes. Curiosity hums through their small bodies like sunlight. One takes a step forward, slow and unsure. The ground feels different here, firm but alive, covered with tiny pebbles that shift under its weight. Another follows, then another, until a small line of hatchlings stands just beyond the edge of the nest. Their mother lifts her head but does not stop them. Her eyes are calm, watching with quiet trust. The father stands nearby, tall and steady, his shadow long across the earth. The babies are safe, and the world is kind today. They begin to move together, their tiny feet pressing soft prints into the warm soil. Every sound makes them pause. The chirp of a bird, the whisper of a leaf falling, the low hum of wind between rocks. But each time, after a few heartbeats, they take another step. The forest around them feels big, but not frightening. The air smells full of life, sweet plants, wet moss, the faint scent of sun-warmed bark. A baby brushes against a fern, and droplets of leftover rain slide down its nose. It shakes its head, eyes wide, then chirps softly, as if laughing. Another finds a smooth stone and nudges it with its snout, watching it roll a little before stopping. They test everything, leaves, shadows, light, learning with each touch. Their movements are small, but each step is an adventure, every breath a question answered. Overhead, the sunlight filters through the branches in long, glowing bands. Dust and tiny insects float in the beams, turning the air into gold. The babies walk through them, their skin catching bits of light. For a moment, it looks as though they carry the sunshine on their backs. The mother follows slowly behind, her footsteps deep but gentle, her low hum a soft reminder that she is near. A breeze moves through the valley, carrying the scent of water and the sound of a river somewhere far away. The babies lift their heads, listening, but they do not wander far. They stay close, exploring the space between safety and freedom. Never too far to lose sight of the nest, but far enough to feel the thrill of something new. The ground beneath them is warm, the sky open and endless, and time itself feels unhurried. As the afternoon light begins to soften, the herd shadows stretch across the earth. The babies pause to rest near a cluster of ferns, their sides rising and falling with slow breaths. They look back toward their nest, seeing it for the first time from a little distance, a small circle in a wide, glowing world. It feels both familiar and far away, a place they belong to, but no longer need to cling to every moment. The mother lowers her head and lets out a deep, soothing sound, a voice that carries safety in every note. The babies return to her side, pressing against her legs, tired but calm. The father shifts slightly, lowering his neck so the last bit of sunlight shines along his back. The day is nearly done, and the first journey has been gentle. The sky begins to fade from gold to rose, and the air cools around them. The forest hums its soft evening song, a lullaby made of wind and leaves. The babies lie close together, eyes half closed, still dreaming of what lies beyond the trees. For now, their world is peaceful, small, and perfect. They will roam farther someday. But today, they have learned the rhythm of their first steps, slow, curious, and full of quiet wonder beneath the endless light. The sun drifts lower, and the world begins to glow with a soft, amber light. The heat of the day fades slowly, leaving behind a calm warmth that clings to the earth. Shadows stretch across the forest floor, long and smooth, blending into one another until the ground looks painted in shades of gold and gray. The air grows still, yet alive with quiet sound, the gentle voice of the ancient earth. It begins faintly, almost too soft to notice. A rhythm of life so steady that it feels like breathing. The sound of wind sliding through tall leaves. The rustle of ferns brushing one another. The faint creak of giant trees swaying under their own age. Each movement creates a note, a whisper, a sigh, together forming music that has no beginning and no end. Tiny creatures join the song. The first to speak are the insects, not loud, but constant. A soft hum rises from the grass, blending with a faint chirp of small wings. The sound vibrates through the warm air, a low, soothing tone that seems to hold the rhythm of the land itself. Sometimes it fades, then returns, like waves rolling gently across the shore. From somewhere high above, a bird-like creature calls, not sharp, not frightening, but long and hollow, its voice echoing through the trees like a flute carved from wind. Another answers from far away, and the two sounds cross paths in the sky, mixing and fading into distance. The air feels wider with their echoes, as though the forest is listening, smiling in silence. Beneath it all, the earth hums quietly. It is not a sound that can be heard easily, but felt, a low vibration deep underfoot, as if the planet itself is purring. The dinosaurs feel it in their bones, in the soles of their feet, in the rhythm of their breathing. Every heartbeat of the world matches their own. The herd moves slowly through this calm. Their footsteps add a deep note to the song. Soft thuds on damp earth, the shifting of leaves as they pass. Each step seems to fall in time with a hum around them, as though the world itself keeps time with their movement. The baby's steps are lighter, quicker, their tiny claws clicking softly against pebbles. Sometimes they stumble, and the sound is small and real, a reminder that life here is both delicate and sure. The river nearby adds its own music, a steady murmur of water sliding over stone. It gurgles in some places, sighs in others, whispering secrets to the roots of trees that bend toward it. When the wind shifts, the scent of wet earth drifts with the sound, wrapping everything in peace. The forest joins in quietly. Branches groan in the breeze, leaves flutter like gentle applause, and somewhere far away, the faint call of another herd drifts across the valley, low, warm, full of life. The sound travels far, touching the air above the trees and settling softly over the nests. It does not disturb, it comforts. Every sound feels slow here. Nothing rushes, nothing startles. Even silence is not empty. It is full of small movements, tiny echoes, the soft heartbeat of things unseen. The baby dinosaurs pause often to listen, tilting their heads, their small eyes blinking at sounds too delicate to name. They hear the hum of the wind, the whisper of wings, the sigh of the earth, and though they do not understand, they feel safe. As evening deepens, the sound grows softer still. The insects slow their hum. The wind fades until it becomes only a breath moving through the grass. The river continues its quiet song, steady and sure, as stars begin to appear above the canopy. The forest lullaby becomes slower, deeper, a song meant for sleep. The herd settles for the night, their breathing joining the quiet rhythm. The mothers lower their heads, their soft exhales mixing with the wind. The babies curl together in the warm grass, listening. The earth hums beneath them, the last light fades, and the gentle sounds of the ancient world play on, the slow, kind music of a planet alive, at peace, and dreaming beneath the stars. Night falls slowly, as if the sky itself is taking a deep breath. The last of the golden light fades behind the hills, and in its place, a soft violet glow spreads across the heavens. The air cools, wrapping the land in quiet comfort. Mist begins to rise from the riverbanks and settle gently among the trees, turning the forest into a dream of silver and shadow. The world feels calm, not silent, but full of the smallest, softest sounds. The baby dinosaurs lie close to their parents, nestled in the warm hollow of the earth where the grass is smooth and the soil still holds a day's heat. Their bodies touch, small tails curling against one another, their breath slow and even. Each rise and fall of their sides matches the rhythm of the night around them, steady, peaceful, unhurried. Above them, the stars appear one by one, blinking through the thin veil of fog. They shimmer softly, not sharp or bright, but gentle, like tiny candles far away. The constellations are different in this ancient sky, their shapes unfamiliar, yet they tell the same quiet story, that the world is vast, that time moves slowly, and that even in darkness, there's light. The air carries a cool scent of ferns and damp soil. A light wind passes through the forest, stirring the mist and brushing softly over the herd. It moves through the leaves with a sound like a sigh, lifting small bits of dust that sparkle faintly before settling again. The moon, round and pale, hangs low between the branches, its light spreading across the ground like silk. The babies shift slightly, pressing closer to their mothers as sleep pulls them deeper. The parents remain still but awake, their great eyes reflecting the stars above. They breathe in the cool night air, calm and aware, their bodies half in rest, half in watchfulness. Every sound, a frog by the river, a distant splash, the soft beat of wings from a bird-like creature overhead, becomes part of the night song. The fathers stand guard at the edge of the clearing, their silhouettes outlined in moonlight, tails resting low, heads lifting every now and then to check the sky. The forest hums softly in response. Insects sing in slow rhythm, their voices weaving through the cool air like threads of sound. A distant waterfall murmurs faintly, the echo of its water blending with the deep stillness. Somewhere, a tree creaks as it sways, a sound so slow and deep it feels like the earth whispering in its sleep. The babies dream beneath this violet sky. In their small minds, the world is a blur of warmth and sound, the steady heartbeat of their mothers, the hum of the river, the soft light of the stars. They do not yet know fear or distance. Their world is small and safe, surrounded by love and rhythm and quiet air. Sometimes one stays, making a faint chirping noise, no louder than the brush of a feather. A mother shifts slightly, lowering her head to rest beside her baby, her breath flowing gently over it like a warm cloud. The little one settles again, its tiny claws curling into the earth, its breathing returning to the slow pulse of the night. The fog thickens and then thins again, moving with the wind like drifting dreams. The moon climbs higher, turning the world silver. The herd becomes still, their shapes barely visible, only their quiet breathing marking their place among the trees. Time seems to fade here. Minutes feel like hours, hours like a single heartbeat. The stars shimmer softly above the mist, their reflections flickering in small pools left by the rain. The earth rests. The sky watches. The night holds everything close. And in that stillness, under the cool air, the violet light, and the soft hum of a sleeping forest, the baby dinosaurs dream without worry, wrapped in the warmth of family and the endless calm of a world that has only just begun to breathe. The morning light returns softly, rolling across the plains like a wave of gold. The mist from the night begins to lift, and the first warmth of the sun spreads across the grass. The land feels open now, endless in every direction, a sea of green and light wind. Far across it, the herd begins to move, slow and steady, like the turning of the earth itself. The ground trembles faintly under their steps. It is not loud or heavy, but deep, a rhythm that feels almost alive, the pulse of life moving across the land. Each giant walks with care, their massive feet pressing softly into the damp soil. Around them, the smaller ones stay close, tiny shapes surrounded by gentle strength. The babies chirp quietly, their voices high and curious, rising and falling like notes in a song. When the herd stops to rest, it does so with quiet order. The adults form a wide circle, their bodies creating a wall of calm power. Heads lower, tails sweep slowly from side to side, and eyes stay watchful, not with fear, but with patience. Inside this circle, the babies gather, their tiny feet stirring the dust, their soft calls blending with the sound of the wind. The air hums with warmth and quiet motion. Nothing rushes here. The circle is more than protection. It is a rhythm, a heartbeat. Each movement of the adults echoes through the others, the rise and fall of their breathing syncing with the sound of the plains. Even the ground seems to join them, vibrating gently with each step, each shift of weight. The herd move together as one body, one thought, one slow, ancient song. The sun glows warmly on their backs, sliding across patterns of color, browns and greens and golds that shimmer like dry leaves. Dust drifts through the air in thin clouds, catching light like smoke. The babies chase the moving beams, tripping over small stones, their laughter-like chirps breaking the stillness. The mothers nudge them back with their snouts, gentle and slow, a soft reminder of safety. When a shadow passes overhead, the adults lift their heads at once. A large flying creature glides far above, wings cutting across the sky. No one panics. The herd simply shifts. The circle tightens slightly, tails curling inward, and the babies press closer to the center. The air holds still for a moment, then relaxes again. The shadow moves on, and the calm returns as if nothing had changed. The father at the edge of the group lets out a deep, low call, a sound that rolls across the plains like distant thunder, rich and calm. Other voices answer, echoing through the valley. The sound is not loud or frightening, but full and deep, a reminder that they are together, that they are strong. The babies pause, listening to the vibration in the air, their small bodies still. Then they return to play, safe in the heart of that endless sound. As the day passes, the herd begins to move again. The circle opens, stretches, reforms, a living pattern of movement that shifts without noise. The wind carries a scent of dry grass and sun-warmed stone. The horizon shimmers in the distance, and the light changes slowly, turning gold to pale orange. Everywhere, life moves in slow unison, insects rising in clouds, birds gliding low over the ground, small creatures darting between ferns. The herd's path leaves no destruction behind, only soft impressions in the soil where their feet touched. Each step feels measured, as though they are walking not through land, but through time itself. The babies grow braver, stepping a little farther from their mothers, exploring small hills and patches of flowers. The adults watch without worry, their calm presence filling the air like a song that never ends. As the sun begins to set, the herd settles again in a wide valley. The circle forms once more, glowing in the orange light. The babies curl together, their tiny bodies warm against the cooling earth. Around them, the giants stand like pillars of quiet power, unmoving except for the slow sway of tails and the rhythm of breath. The plains darken, and the stars return. The circle holds steady, a shape of peace under the endless sky. The wind moves softly through the grass, carrying the low hum of their voices into the night, a deep, steady sound, like the heart of the world still beating, slow and strong, protecting life at its center. Time drifts gently across the land, moving not in days or hours, but in seasons. The world does not hurry. It turns slowly, patiently, like a lullaby repeating its quiet tune. The baby dinosaurs grow with this rhythm, their small bodies changing as softly as the sky changes color at dawn. Each season carries its own breath, its own kind of kindness, shaping their world in calm and steady ways. When the days are long and bright, the air hums with warmth. The ground glows golden under the sunlight, and the trees are heavy with wide green leaves. The babies wander through tall grass that brushes their sides, their skin glistening in the light. They feel the sun deep in their bones, giving them strength, making their steps surer. The rivers run full and clear, and the air smells sweet, full of flowers, wet bark, and fruit that has just begun to ripen. Every sound seems happy. Even the whisper of wind through the trees feels like laughter. When the rains return, the world cools again. The sky turns soft gray, and mist slides down the hills. The babies huddle close to their mothers, watching droplets gather on their noses. The air smells of wet soil and ferns, and their tiny footprints fill quickly with water. They learn to love the sound of rain, steady, endless, and gentle, a song that helps them sleep even when thunder rolls far away. Between storms, sunlight breaks through the clouds, spreading soft light across the glistening forest. The plants grow taller, the moss thicker, the ground softer beneath their feet. Then comes a season of long evenings, when the light turns honey-colored and the air carries a quiet warmth. The wind grows slower, and the sky takes on deeper shades of orange and pink. The herd moves more often now, following new patches of green across the plains. The babies, taller and stronger, walk beside their parent instead of beneath them. They have learned the rhythm of the land, when to move, when to rest, when to simply listen to the wind. In this season, the air smells different. There's a hint of dry grass and distant rain. The insect hums slower, their voices soft and low. The leaves of some trees begin to fade, turning bronze at the edges before falling one by one. The babies chase them as they drift through the air, their laughter-like chirps echoing through the valley. Each day feels slower now, stretched thin by the setting sun, and everything in the world seems to breathe in time. The earth, the air, the herd, all moving together in the same calm rhythm. Then, when the nights grow cool and the mornings are covered in thin fog, the world becomes quiet again. The grass turns pale, and the rivers shrink into narrow streams. The babies press close to one another at night, sharing warmth as the stars shine clear in the cold air. The wind carries the scent of stone and dry earth now, and though food becomes scarcer, the herd moves calmly, trusting that warmth will return. The babies have grown strong enough to keep up, their legs steady, their eyes calm and bright. And when the first soft winds of warmth return, carrying the smell of rain and green shoots, the world awakens once more. The ground trembles with new life, ferns unfurl, flowers bloom, and the river sings louder again. The babies, now no longer so small, step into the sunlight, blinking, stretching, their reflections rippling across clear pools of water. The air feels full, complete, alive. No part of this world rushes. The seasons turn, the babies grow, and the earth keeps breathing beneath them. Each change arrives softly, teaching them patience, showing them that life is not something to chase but something to drift with, like leaves carried by the wind, gentle, certain, and endlessly calm. The warmth of the long summer begins to fade, replaced by a tender stillness that spreads across the land. The sun lowers a little earlier each day, and its light turns softer, less golden, more amber, as though the sky itself has grown thoughtful. The air carries a quiet chill now, not sharp or cold, but clean and full of promise. The season has changed. The great forest, once deep green and alive with buzzing life, begins to transform. The leaves shift their colors slowly, almost shyly. What was once a solid sea of green becomes a painting of quiet fire, soft orange, muted red, pale yellow, and fading brown. Each leaf seems to glow from within as if remembering the warmth of summer. The trees stand tall, their wide arms trembling gently in the cool wind. When the breeze moves through them, it sends a delicate rain of color drifting to the ground. The forest floor becomes a blanket of soft rust and gold, warm to the eye but cool beneath the touch. The baby dinosaurs step carefully through this new world, their tiny feet brushing against fallen ferns that crumble into dust at the edges. Every step makes a faint sound, a soft crunch that joins a whisper of wind through drying leaves. They pause often, lifting their heads to watch the world change around them. The air smells different now, less of wet soil and flowers, more of bark and dry grass, of time slowing down. The mothers walk beside them, slower now, calmer. Their breaths form faint clouds in the morning chill. They lead their young to sunlit clearings where the light filters through orange leaves, painting their scales in shifting patterns. The babies lie close to the ground, their bodies blending with the warm colors of the forest. They feel the cool earth beneath them, the steady rhythm of their parents breathing nearby, and the quiet hum of the season wrapping everything in stillness. The wind blows gently, carrying the faint rustle of leaves dancing above. Some tumble in slow spirals, landing softly on the babies' backs. A few stay there, unmoving, until a small shake sends them drifting away again. The little ones watch them fall, fascinated by their weightless grace, their gentle descent. The air feels light, almost sleepy, as if even the world itself is ready to rest. The herds no longer wander far. The grass has grown short, the plants fewer, but there is enough. The days are shorter now, but calm. In the afternoons, the sunlight feels warmer, golden and thick, glowing through the trees like melted honey. The babies stretch out in it, soaking in the fading warmth, their eyes half closed. The forest hums with quiet life, small creatures scurrying among roots, insects chirping in slower rhythm, distant bird-like call that echoes softly through thinning air. Sometimes, the wind carries a faint scent of rain, but it comes rarely now. The sky stays pale for longer, covered in high, thin clouds that drift like old smoke. The nights are clear and full of stars, cold enough that the babies press close to their mothers, curling into the warmth of their bodies. The ground cools quickly after sunset, but the still air holds a calm that feels safe and endless. As the season deepens, more leaves fall, covering the nests and trails in a thick carpet. The forest becomes quieter each day, as if it is listening, waiting. The babies rest more now, their energy softer, their movement slower. They spend long moments lying among the fallen ferns, their bodies still, their breaths even. The smell of dry leaves fills the air. Each exhale from the herd sends a faint swirl of color drifting upward, only to settle again gently on the earth. The sky glows orange at dusk, fading into soft lavender. The wind grows cooler, carrying whispers through the grass. The forest no longer hums with growth, it hums with rest. Everything, the trees, the rivers, the herds, seems to sigh together, exhaling the last warmth of summer. And as the baby dinosaurs fall asleep beside their mothers, surrounded by a world of gold and rust, the leaves continue to fall, slow, endless, beautiful. Each one lands softly on the ground, joining the quiet rhythm of a season learning to rest. The day darkens slowly, clouds gathering one by one across the sky. The air grows thick, smelling of rain and distant stone. The wind moves gently at first, brushing to the tall grass and whispering across the plain. The herd pauses, sensing the change, but there is no fear in them, only calm acceptance. Storms are as natural as sunlight, and in this ancient world, even thunder has its place in the song of peace. The light begins to fade as gray spreads across the horizon. The sky folds into deeper color, and mist rolls low to the ground. The first drops fall quietly, tapping on the broad leaves of ferns and the backs of the resting dinosaurs. The sound is soft, rhythmic, almost like breathing. The babies blink at the drops that touch their noses, then lift their heads, watching the sky with curious eyes. The air hums faintly, a deep sound that trembles through the clouds before lightning flashes far away, bright but brief. The mothers lower their heads, calling softly to their young. The babies move close, their tiny feet sinking into the wet earth, the ground soft beneath the steady rain. They settle under the wide shadows of their parents' bodies, pressing into the warmth that shields them from the growing wind. Around them, the rain begins to fall harder, but still, it is not violent. It falls in long, even sheets, turning the air into silver threads. The thunder comes next, slow and deep. It does not roar but rolls like a low drumbeat across the valley, steady, far away, soothing in its rhythm. The sound seems to move through the ground, through the trees, through the bones of the earth itself. It reminds the herd of the heartbeat they once felt inside their eggs, the sound of life around them before they were born. The babies close their eyes, listening. Each rumble is soft, like a breath, followed by a long silence filled with rain. Flashes of light ripple behind the clouds, illuminating the plains in pale silver. The rain glows for an instant, and every droplet seems to shine. The world feels large and alive, yet calm, a gentle balance between sound and stillness. The air is cool, wrapping the herd in a blanket of mist and scent. The babies breathe it in slowly, their tiny chests rising and falling in rhythm with the storm. The parents stay still, their bodies forming a circle, tails overlapping, heads turned outward toward the wind. Within that quiet fortress, the babies sleep. Raindrops slide down the mother's sides and drip onto the ground beside their children. Steam rises faintly from their warm skin as a cool water meets the heat of their breath. The smell of wet earth fills the air, heavy and sweet. Even the lightning, when it comes, feels distant, a quick flash that brightens the clouds and fades before the thunder arrives. Each rumble comes slower now, as though the sky is settling into rest. The rain softens again, turning from heavy sheets to a light drizzle. The forests and plains glisten, shining in the dim light. Pools of water reflect the last faint sparks in the clouds, trembling slightly with each drop that falls. The herd remains together, unmoving except for the gentle shift of breath and the occasional sway of a tail. The babies sleep soundly through it all, curled against the warmth of their families, their small bodies safe beneath the calm protection of giants. The storm passes like a dream, soft, slow, full of sound but never fear. As the thunder drifts farther away, the wind quiets. The last drops of rain fall one by one, tapping lightly against leaves. The clouds begin to break apart, showing a faint shimmer of stars behind them. The air is cool, washed clean, filled with peace. The babies dream beneath the soft rhythm of the storm, of light and warmth, of water falling gently through their world. And when the last sound of thunder fades into silence, the only thing left is calm, the steady breath of the herd, the sigh of the wet earth, and the endless quiet heartbeat of a world still resting beneath the rain. Morning returns, quiet and silver, wrapping the world in a cool veil of mist. The storm has passed, leaving behind calm air and the scent of new rain. Across the plains, small pools have formed, spreading into winding paths of shallow water that shimmer in the first light of day. These are the marshlands, soft, glowing, and alive with silence. The world here feels slower, gentler, as if every breath must be taken softly so as not to disturb the mist that floats low over the ground. The herd moves carefully into this glistening maze of water and grass. Each step makes a soft sound, a whisper of mud, a faint splash, a sigh from the earth beneath. The air hums faintly, filled with tiny insects that drift like golden dust. The sunlight, pale and distant, filters through the fog in long, silvery rays, turning every droplet into a small star. The ground glows faintly, a reflection of the sky's calm. The baby dinosaurs step slowly, curious about this new place. The water only reaches their ankles, but it feels cool and strange. They lift their feet high, watching the ripples spread in perfect circles across the still surface. Each ripple moves outward until it fades, leaving the world smooth again. The babies laugh softly in their own way, a series of chirps and clicks that echo quietly through the mist. They test the water again and again, fascinated by the way it moves at their touch. Their parents follow closely, their long legs making deeper waves that mix with the smaller ripples. Yet even with so many steps, the marsh never seems disturbed. The water returns to calm in moments, its surface gleaming like glass. Around them, reeds sway gently, their thin stalks bending with the lightest breath of wind. Small, delicate flowers float on the water's surface, their petals trembling each time a ripple passes. The mist curls around the herd, soft and cool, carrying the smell of fresh grass and wet earth. The air feels heavy but kind, every sound muffled, every movement gentle. Somewhere nearby, a frog-like creature croaks, the noise low and steady, blending perfectly with the hum of insects and the distant song of running water. Together, these sounds form a quiet rhythm, the lullaby of the marsh. The babies wander between patches of shallow water and small islands of soft mud, their reflections shimmering beneath them. Sometimes they pause to look down, puzzled by the other faces staring back. When they move, their reflections break apart, their shapes scattering like dreams. The sun climbs higher, but its light remains soft, its warmth gentle. It does not chase away the mist, it only turns it golden. The parents stop to drink, their long necks lowering slowly until their noses touch the cool water. The babies mimic them, dipping their heads, making small ripples that meet and fade into one another. Dragonflies hover above, their wings catching light like crystal threads. They move with slow grace, their paws looping lazily through the air. The babies watch them, blinking, following their dance with quiet wonder. The water smells of life, faintly sweet, a mix of flowers and moss and ancient earth. When the babies walk, bubbles rise beneath their feet and burst softly on the surface. The herd's movement creates patterns across the marsh, circles within circles, ripples crossing like gentle brushstrokes on a smooth canvas. Nothing here is still, yet everything feels calm. A breeze moves through, lifting the mist for a moment. In that brief clearing, the world glows. The sun's light touches the entire wetland, making every drop of water shine. The herd shadows stretch across the marsh, long and soft, joining one another like threads of light. Then the mist drifts back, closing around them again, quiet and kind. The babies grow tired and rest near the edge of the water, their small bodies half in sunlight, half in shade. The parents stand nearby, motionless except for the slow rise and fall of their breath. The marsh hums softly, the sound of a world perfectly balanced between earth and water. And as the light fades toward evening, the ripples fade too, slower now, smaller, until at last the surface is still again. The mist settles once more, wrapping everything in silver calm. The herd sleeps standing, the babies leaning gently against their mothers. In the glowing silence of the marshlands, even the smallest sound, the drop of water, the sigh of wind, feels like a dream drifting slowly across the face of time. The days grow longer and quieter as the herd settle near the marshes. The air is warm again, but the heat is gentle, softened by the mist that still lingers in the mornings. The world feels balanced, calm light above, cool water below, and slow wind moving through the grass. It is here, in this soft rhythm of life, that the parents begin to teach their young the simple ways of survival. Not through force or sound, but through patience and motion, the quiet language of life itself. At dawn, when the sun rises pale and low, the mothers lead their babies toward the fields of tall ferns. The ground is damp from the night's dew, and the scent of fresh plants fills the air. The babies walk carefully, their small feet sinking softly into the soil. They follow their parents' movements, how to lower their necks, how to test the plants before eating, how to listen to the wind before taking a bite. Each motion is slow, deliberate, and calm. The mothers pause often, watching, waiting. They nudge their young gently when they stray too far, guiding them back with quiet touches. The fathers stand at a distance, their tall forms half hidden by mist, eyes always moving, always calm. There is no fear in their watchfulness, only an ancient habit, a steady rhythm of protection. The babies feel this presence like a comfort, a silent promise that they are safe as they learn. The first lesson is to find food. The parents show them which leaves are soft and full of water, which plants are bitter, which roots hide under the soil. The babies sniff and nibble, their mouths clumsy but eager. When they choose well, the mothers hum softly, a low, warm sound that vibrates through the air. When they choose wrong, the mothers simply move on, showing by example, never scolding, never rushing. The second lesson is the art of stillness. The forests and plains are full of sounds, most gentle, some strange. The parents teach their young how to listen, not only with their ears but with their whole bodies. When the wind changes direction, the adults lift their heads. When a shadow moves too quickly, they freeze, their eyes watching, waiting. The babies mimic them, holding their breath, their tiny hearts beating fast but quiet. Then, when the moment passes, the adults relax again, and the little ones learn that stillness is not fear, it is awareness, part of the world's rhythm. The third lesson is to stay close. The herd always moves as one, a slow river of life that bends and flows through the land. The parents teach the babies to feel that movement, to sense the pull of the group even when they cannot see it. If one drifts too far, a gentle call echoes through the air, deep and steady, guiding them back. The sound travels through the mist, through the grass, through their bones. It feels like home. Throughout the day, the lessons continue without words. The babies learn to step around stones, to walk through shallow streams, to rest in the shade when the sun grows warm. They learn by watching, by feeling, by breathing in the rhythm of those who came before them. Growth here is not a race. It is a song that unfolds note by note, at the same pace as the wind, the same beat as the earth. As evening comes, the light turns golden and soft. The herd settles near the water once more, the babies lying close to their mothers. The lessons are done for the day, but they linger quietly, like echoes in the mind. The adults stand tall and silent, the glow of sunset reflecting off their scales. The babies drift toward sleep, their small eyes half open, the hum of their parents' breathing wrapping around them like a lullaby. The world moves on, gentle and sure, teaching as it always has, without rush, without end. In this calm and endless rhythm, the babies learn what all creatures must: to eat, to listen, to stay together, and to trust the quiet strength that holds them beneath the wide, peaceful sky. The land opens wide again, spreading into a valley of silver and blue. The air feels thinner here, lighter, touched with the scent of water that has waited a long time to be found. At its center lies a lake, vast, still, endless. Its surface is smooth as glass, a mirror to the sky above. When the wind moves, the ripples are slow, almost invisible, and when it stops, the world seems to hold its breath. Nothing disturbs the calm except the soft footsteps of the herd arriving at its edge. The baby dinosaurs step closer, their eyes wide at the sight of so much quiet water. The adults move first, lowering their heads to drink. The motion is slow, graceful, necks bending, reflections trembling, then settling again. The babies follow, their movements uncertain at first. They look down and see another world below, one made of clouds and light, of shapes that move whenever they move. A curious one dips its nose too far and sneezes softly when the cool water touches it. Ripples spread outward, fading in long, smooth rings until the lake becomes still again. The air is calm and pale. The sky hangs low, washed in the soft colors of dawn, faded pink, light blue, silver white. High, thin clouds drift across it, their shapes perfectly mirrored on the lake's surface. It's hard to tell where the water ends and the sky begins. The babies pause often, caught in the quiet illusion, watching the clouds slide across the reflection beneath their feet. The mothers and fathers stand like statues around them, their bodies glowing faintly in the light. Their reflections stretch long and tall in the water, moving only when they do. The babies stand beside them, small shapes beside giants, their tiny ripples touching the great shadows of their parents. For a moment, the world feels doubled, one above, one below, both breathing, both calm. A faint breeze drifts over the surface, carrying the scent of lilies and cool stone. The water moves softly, whispering against the shore. Each small wave laps gently against the mud, leaving patterns that fade almost as soon as they form. The sound is peaceful, a slow rhythm, steady and kind. The babies drink again, their movements now easy, the cold water sliding down their throats, the taste clean and new. Insects hover above the surface, their wings catching flashes of sunlight. Some dip low, leaving tiny circles that spread and vanish. Birds with long necks glide quietly across the lake, their bodies barely making a sound as they move. The babies watch them, mesmerized by how easily they float. A few try to mimic them, stepping into the shallow edge and stirring the mud beneath their feet. The water darkens for a moment, then clears again, smooth and shining as before. The herd stand together in silence. Their reflections shimmer in the gentle waves, stretching across the lake like ghostly shapes made of light. Behind them, the land rises into rolling hills covered in soft green. Ahead, the horizon fades into pale sky, the line between air and water disappearing into mist. Everything here feels slow, perfect, endless. The clouds above drift lower, their edges glowing softly in the sunlight. The world becomes even quieter. The babies begin to rest near the water's edge, their legs folding beneath them, their tails brushing the wet ground. Their parents stand nearby, watchful and still, their breathing deep and slow. The only sound is a faint, steady pulse of water touching shore, over and over, never hurried, never loud. As the day goes on, the light changes. The silver turns to gold, then to rose, then to deep blue as the sun begins to set. The lake reflects every color, every passing cloud. The babies lift their heads now and then, watching how the sky changes inside the water, as though the world itself were dreaming beneath them. And when the night finally comes, the first stars appear, not only above, but below, shimmering faintly in the lake's dark reflection. The herd settles in the quiet glow of two skies, one real, one mirrored. The water holds their shapes softly, and the air feels cool and endless. Nothing stays. No sound breaks the peace. The world rests between two heavens, and the baby dinosaurs, safe and still, close their eyes as the great calm of the lakes carries them gently into sleep. Night falls again, slow and silver, brushing softly over the wide valley where the herd rests. The air cools gently, carrying the scent of water and grass. The last colors of sunset fade into deep blue, and one by one, the stars bloom across the sky. They seem larger here, not bright or sharp, but soft, glowing through thin wisps of drifting mist. Their light spreads faintly across the land, painting the shapes of the resting dinosaurs in pale silver. The herd gathers close together in the open field. The ground is warm from the day's sun, and the earth gives off a faint, comforting heat that rises through the grass. The adults lie in a wide ring, their massive bodies forming a slow circle of calm strength. Inside that circle, the babies curl together, small, soft shapes in a world made of warmth and quiet breathing. The sound of night is steady and gentle. You can hear the deep, low breaths of the herd, moving in rhythm like waves on a still shore. Each exhale drifts into the cool air as mist, rising briefly before fading. The babies sleep soundly, their chests rising and falling in time with their mothers. When one stays, another nuzzles closer, and the motion travels through them like a ripple in still water. Above, the stars drift slowly, so slowly they seem almost still. Yet if you watch long enough, you can feel them moving, sliding across the sky like tiny lanterns floating on a quiet sea. The moon hangs low, round and kind, its light spreading softly across the plain. Every blade of grass seems to shimmer faintly under its glow. The night feels endless, but not cold, more like the earth itself has wrapped the herd in its arms. From time to time, a quiet sound breaks the stillness, the rustle of leaves, a far-off call of some small night creature, the soft shifting of a giant tail. None of it disturbs the peace. Each sound folds neatly into the calm, part of the same slow rhythm that carries everything toward rest. The air moves gently, cool against warm skin, whispering through the gaps between the sleeping bodies. The babies dream beside their parents. Their tiny claws twitch, their tails move slightly, their heads rest against one another. In their dreams, perhaps they still walk beside rivers or chase ripples through the marshlands, their memories blending softly with the sounds of night. The parents remain half awake, listening, their eyes half closed, glowing faintly under the starlight. Their stillness is its own comfort, a quiet promise that nothing will harm the sleeping young. As the night deepens, the stars grow brighter. They fill the whole sky, more than can be counted, spreading from one horizon to the other. The herd seems smaller beneath them, but not lost, part of the same pattern, the same slow heartbeat of the universe. The world feels infinite, yet close, like a blanket of light stretched above a cradle of life. The wind dies down completely. Even the insects pause their songs. The silence now is not empty. It is full of peace, of breath, of warmth. You can almost hear the earth itself breathing beneath the herd, slow and steady. The babies shift once more, nestling closer, their small bodies pressed together in comfort. Time seems to fade here. Minutes melt into hours, and the stars seem to move slower than time itself, gliding across the sky with infinite patience. The moon lowers toward the horizon, painting the sleeping herd in silver and shadow. The night holds them gently, like a mother's hand over her children. And as the last breeze moves through the valley, carrying the soft sighs of the resting giants, the world grows perfectly still, a living silence, warm and eternal. The herd sleeps as one, their dreams carried by the stars, their hearts beating softly beneath a sky that will watch over them until morning. The first light of dawn drifts slowly over the horizon, pale and tender, touching the land with a quiet silver glow. The night air softens as the sun's warmth begins to return, spreading gently through the mist that still clings to the ground. The herd stays in silence. A slow rustle moves through the grass as the dinosaurs rise, stretching their long necks toward the brightening sky. The air feels cool and full of scent, of light, of promise. The world smells alive. The rain from days before has soaked deep into the soil, leaving behind the sweet, heavy scent of wet earth. Ferns sway softly in the morning breeze, their leaves glistening with drops of dew that slide down their edges and fall one by one into the ground below. Each drop makes a faint sound, like the quiet tap of a drum too far away to see. The air carries the smell of growing things, green, clean, and new. The babies wake slowly, blinking their wide eyes in the dim light. Their small bodies are warm from the night's shared sleep, their sides rising and falling with soft, even breaths. They lift their heads, sniffing the air, tasting the morning on their tongues. The scent of ferns drifts around them, gentle and cool, mixed with a faint sweetness of flowers that have just begun to open. A light wind moves across the field, brushing their skin with the freshness of a new day. Mist still hangs low, curling around the legs of the adults and the small shapes of the young. It shifts with the wind, pale and glowing in the early sun. Every movement feels slow and calm, as though the world itself is waking without hurry. The herd begins to move, the sound of their feet soft in the damp earth. Birds call faintly from the trees, their voices light and distant, blending with the whisper of leaves. The babies follow their mothers through the ferns, brushing against the cool leaves. Each touch releases more scent into the air, earthy, moist, a little sharp but pleasant. Dew gathers on their legs and tails, tiny drops sparkling in the sunlight before sliding off into the grass. They walk in a loose line, their steps uneven, their curiosity fresh. Every color seems clearer this morning. The deep green of the ferns, the gold shimmer of sunlight on water, the soft blue of distant hills. The parents move slowly, letting the babies explore the world at their own pace. One mother pauses beside a patch of tall plants, bending her neck to eat. The babies watch closely, mimicking her movements, trying to copy the way she tears the leaves, the way she chews slowly and swallows. They are still clumsy, still learning, but their efforts are quiet, patient. The air hums with peace, no rush, no noise, only the soft rhythm of breath and life. The wind grows a little stronger, pushing the mist aside and filling the valley with sunlight. The dew on the grass begins to sparkle brighter, like thousands of tiny gems scattered across the earth. The babies stop to watch, their reflections glinting faintly in the small puddles left by the night. They lower their heads to drink, lapping gently at the cool water. Ripples move outward, slow and perfect, before fading back into stillness. Above them, the sky opens wider, the blue deepening as the sun climbs higher. The forest edges glimmer with light, the tall trees glowing softly where the beams pass through. Insects hover near the flowers, their wings catching flashes of gold. The scent of morning grows lighter now, the damp earth giving way to the dry sweetness of warming air. The babies move together toward a patch of soft grass and lie down again, tired from their short walk. Their mothers stand nearby, heads lowered, eyes half closed. The air moves gently between them all, carrying warmth, scent, and sound, a perfect balance of life waking slowly. The earth breathes with them, the ferns sway, and the day begins. Nothing rushes, nothing disturbs. Just light, wind, and scent. The calm rhythm of morning returning again, as it always does, with a simple grace of dew on leaves and the quiet footsteps of young life beneath a gentle sun. The sun climbs slowly through the pale morning sky, warm light spreading over plains in long, soft waves. The mist from dawn has lifted, revealing the wide green world beneath. Open fields dotted with trees, quiet rivers winding like silver ribbons, and distant hills glowing faintly gold. The air feels light and gentle, humming softly with life. It is in this calm morning that the young begin to find their voices. At first, the sound is small, barely more than a whisper. A single baby dinosaur lifts its head and lets out a faint chirp, uncertain and breathy. It stops, listening, as though the world itself might answer. For a moment, there's only silence. Then another chirp follows, this one a little stronger, a little longer. A few more join in, each one different. Some high and clear like birdsong, others low and trembling, like a hum rising from the earth. The air fills slowly with sound, soft but full, a new kind of music that blends perfectly with the rhythm of the land. The parents stand nearby, watching. They do not correct or call over the young. They simply listen. The adults' own voices are deeper, steadier, echoes of the same tones the babies are trying to make. A low rumble passes between them, so gentle that it feels more like a vibration than a sound. It travels through the ground, reaching the young ones like a heartbeat through the soil. They answer instinctively, their tiny throats fluttering as they try to repeat what they feel. The valley becomes a chorus of gentle calls. The sounds travel across the fields, bouncing off trees and rocks, mingling with the whispers of wind. Some babies chirp softly to one another, their voices curious and bright. Others whistle in short bursts, testing the air, discovering how far their sound can go. The smallest ones stay close to their mothers, practicing quiet hums that tremble with warmth. Each note feels alive, filled with the pure joy of discovery. The sound carries far, but it never breaks the peace. Even the loudest call fades smoothly into the air, leaving behind a trail of echo that lingers like mist. The adults join in now and then, answering with low, slow rumbles that seem to roll through the valley. The babies pause each time, listening, learning, then trying again. Their calls grow clearer, steadier, more sure of themselves, a language forming out of calm and care. The world responds in its own quiet way. Birds answer from the trees, their high voices fluttering above the deeper tones of the herd. The river hums nearby, its water gliding over smooth stones, echoing faintly. The grass rustles as the wind passes through, carrying the sound farther than sight can reach. The calls drift outward, across open fields and soft hills, fading into the horizon. One baby lifts its head high and releases a sound that travels farther than any before, a long, clear note that rings across the plain. Others stop and listen, then mimic it in different pitches, their tiny voices overlapping in a pattern that feels almost like laughter. The adults raise their heads and answer with deep, rolling rumbles, not to correct them, but to join them. The valley fills with layers of tone, high and low, small and large, weaving together in perfect harmony. After a while, the sound begins to fade. The babies grow tired, their voices softening into quiet hums. Some rest their heads against their mother's legs, eyes half closed, still letting out tiny calls that sound like sighs. The adults remain still, listening to the echoes that hang in the air. The sound of the herd feels like the sound of life itself, a gentle pulse that connects every creature, every breath, every moment. When the last note drifts away, the world falls silent again. The grass sways lightly, the air glows with warmth, and the earth seems to hum in reply. The young have found their voices, and though they will grow deeper and stronger with time, they will always remember these first soft calls, the sound of belonging carried across valleys under a calm and endless sky. The afternoon sun hangs high above the valley, spreading its warmth across the open plain. The air glows golden, and the breeze carries a faint scent of flowers and wet earth. A wide stream winds lazily through the land, its surface sparkling with sunlight. Around it, the grass bends gently in rhythm with the wind. It is here, in the glow of this calm day, that the baby sauropods gather, a small group of gentle giants, still clumsy, still curious, learning the joy of movement beneath a peaceful sky. They begin cautiously, stepping into the shallow water with uncertain feet. The surface ripples around them, and for a moment, they freeze, unsure if they had disturbed something sacred. But when one baby flicks its tail and sends a small splash into the air, the others chirp softly, and the stillness breaks. The water becomes alive with motion, slow, playful waves rolling outward as the babies explore, their reflections shimmering beneath them. Their skin glistens in the sunlight, smooth and patterned like wet stone. Droplets slide down their long necks and tails, catching the light as they fall. One baby leans down to drink, its small snout touching the water's surface, but another nudges it from behind, and it stumbles forward with a startled squeak. The sound is soft, not frightened, a kind of sleepy laughter that echoes faintly through the valley. Soon, more join in, bumping shoulders, splashing gently, learning the way to their bodies in the forgiving water. The herd watches nearby, the adults standing like mountains of calm strength. Their shadows stretch across the riverbank, long and steady. Now and then, a mother lowers her head to check on her young, brushing her nose lightly against a small back or lifting a baby who has stumbled in the mud. Each gesture is slow, careful, full of love. The babies press close to their parents for a moment, then wander off again, drawn by the pull of play and the endless glitter of water. The air hums with quiet happiness. The sound of soft splashes mixes with a gentle rush of the stream. Tiny creatures skip across the surface. Dragonflies, beetles, bright-winged insects that seem to float more than fly. The babies follow their movements with wide eyes, their heads tilting from side to side as the glowing wings dart just beyond reach. One tries to follow, stepping too deep into the water and sending up a spray that sparkles in the light. The others chirp in excitement and do the same, turning the calm stream into a chorus of small splashes and ripples. They play without hurry. Each movement is slow, full of wonder, like a dream unfolding. Some wade through the shallows, dragging their tails in the mud and watching the patterns they leave behind. Others nudge at each other's sides, testing strength but never fighting. When they grow tired, they stand together in the water, half asleep, eyes half closed, the sunlight warming their damp skin. The world around them seems to smile. The wind moves gently through the reeds, creating soft waves that blend with the ripples from their play. The reflection of the sky trembles and reforms again and again, like liquid glass. The scent of warm grass and wet stone fills the air. Everything feels tender, unbroken. After a while, the babies climb out of the stream, their bodies glistening, their small feet pressing deep tracks into the soft ground. They shake themselves, sending drops flying into the sunlight, turning into tiny jewels before they fall. The herd begins to move again, slow and steady, the young walking close behind, still nudging and bumping one another as they go. The stream returns to calm, its ripples fading, its voice soft once more. Behind the herd, the air glows golden, full of light and laughter that lingers long after the sound has gone. The baby's footprints fill slowly with water, one by one, until the path looks smooth again, as if the earth itself has smiled and decided to keep no trace of the gentle play it has just seen. And as the sun leans lower, painting the valley in bronze and rose, the baby sauropods walk beside their parents, their small tails swaying in rhythm, their hearts light and full, unaware that they had just played within eternity's calm, where joy, warmth, and life are all the same quiet thing. The valley stretches wide beneath a calm afternoon sky, its colors soft and endless. A light breeze drifts across the land, bending the tall meadow grass in long, slow waves. The air smells sweet, a mixture of warm earth, flowers, and sunlight. The herd moves somewhere far away, but here, among the quiet folds of the grass, the smaller dinosaurs rest, half hidden, half dreaming, their world made of light, shade, and stillness. The grass towers above them, golden at the tips, green at the roots, swaying gently like the surface of the sea. When the wind moves, the whole meadow seems to breathe, its ripples spreading in every direction. The smaller ones, quick-footed and delicate, press their bodies low against the ground, blending with the motion of the blades around them. Their skin is patterned in soft colors, pale brown and mossy green, marked with faint streaks that shimmer when light touches them. Sunlight filters through the grass in shifting patterns. One moment, it warms their backs in golden stripes. The next, it slides away, replaced by cool shadows. The feeling changes with every heartbeat. Warmth, coolness, warmth again, like gentle waves washing over their skin. The babies close their eyes and stay still, listening to the faint rustle above, feeling the soft play of light as though the sky itself is stroking them. Insects hum quietly in the air, their wings catching bits of light as they hover over the meadow. Somewhere nearby, a lizard darts between the roots, its tiny feet making a faint clicking sound in the soil. The young dinosaurs tilt their heads, listening, but do not move. The world feels peaceful and safe, and the tall grass shelters them like a dream they do not want to wake from. One baby lifts its head slowly, peering through the blade toward the open sky. From here, the world looks vast, an endless sea of motion, bright above and whispering below. It blinks as a cloud passes overhead, changing the light from gold to silver, from warmth to shadow. For a moment, the whole meadow dims, and the baby's reflection in a nearby pool of water fades into nothing. Then the sun returns, and the colors bloom again, soft and glowing. The herd's distant calls drift faintly through the air, long, low rumbles carried by the wind. The babies listen, recognizing the sound not as a command, but as comfort. They chirp back softly, their voices high and brief, barely loud enough to be heard beyond the grass. The reply comes as vibration rather than sound, a hum in the ground that makes the earth feel alive beneath them. They move together slowly, weaving between the tall stems. Their small bodies disappear completely when they crouch, reappearing only when they lift their heads into a beam of sunlight. Every step stays a faint rain of seeds that float in the air before falling again. The breeze carries the scent of warm grass and water, wrapping them in quiet familiarity. When they tire, they lie down again, hidden and safe. The grass bends softly around them, forming small shelters that move with every breath of wind. The sunlight fades slowly, turning the tops of the meadow to amber. The young rest their heads on the cool ground, their eyes half closed. Shadows dance lightly across their skin, long, slow shapes that feel like water flowing over them. Above, the sky deepens to blue, and a few white clouds drift lazily by. The air cools, but the earth remains warm. The world is silent except for the whisper of wind and the faint sigh of grass. The babies breathe in rhythm with it, their bodies still, their hearts calm. The The meadow glows softly as the day ends, its tall grass moving like a slow tide. Hidden within it, the small dinosaurs sleep, wrapped in sunlight and shadow, their dreams swaying gently with the wind, part of the meadow itself, peaceful, invisible, and perfectly at rest. The day begins to slow, as all days do. The sun, once high and white, drifts lower toward the edge of the world. Its light softens, spreading a deep, warm glow across the land. The air changes too. It grows still, thick with the scent of grass warmed by hours of sunlight. Every breath tastes of calm. The sky, once pale blue, melts into shades of gold and honey, brushing the clouds with soft orange edges. The whole world seems to pause, waiting quietly for the moment when day becomes evening. The herds move through the open plains, their shadows long and stretched across the glowing ground. Dust drifts around their feet, caught in the sunlight like floating sparks. Each step stays a faint shimmer of gold, as if the air itself has turned to light. The adults walk slowly, their great bodies outlined in the fading sun, their skin glowing softly as though lit from within. Around them, the young move playfully, still full of energy, still exploring, their small shapes darting between beams of light and shadow. The trees at the edge of the forest catch the last rays of sun, their leaves shimmer in quiet waves of copper and amber. The tops of the ferns glow bright for a few heartbeats before dimming again as the light slips lower. Every surface seems to hold a reflection. Water, stone, even the smooth skin of the dinosaurs, all shining softly, like they are remembering the sun before it goes. The river glows brighter than anything else. It winds through the valley like liquid gold, every ripple a thread of light. A few birds skim its surface, their wings flashing white in the reflection before they vanish into the orange sky. The babies wade near the shallows, their tiny feet kicking up circles that spread outward in the water. The sound is gentle, soft splashes, the murmur of current, the whisper of reeds swaying beside them. A warm wind moves across the plains, brushing through the grass, stirring the scents of flowers, dust, and distant rain. The sound of it carries through the herds, a slow, steady sigh, full of peace. Some of the adults lift their heads toward the horizon, where the sky has turned to fire. But even this brightness feels kind. The light does not sting, it glows. It wraps around every shape, softening edges, turning even the largest creatures into silhouettes of warmth and shadow. The young ones pause in their play, blinking against the brightness. They look toward the sunset, their eyes reflecting the sky's color, amber, bronze, deep rose. They chirp quietly, the sound delicate and uncertain, as if sensing the world shift toward rest. Their mothers answer with low, steady tones, vibrations that travel through the air and ground alike. The valley hums gently with these sounds, a language older than words, one that speaks only of calm and safety. The sky deepens now, the gold turning to orange, the orange fading to red. Light scatters across thin clouds that stretch like painted brushstrokes over the horizon. Every color blends into another. No edges, no rush, only the slow folding of time into dusk. The world breathes easy as the heat fades. The air cools, touching skin and leaf with the soft chill of evening. The herds gather closer, the smaller ones curling between their parents' legs. A few call softly across the plains, deep voices rolling like distant thunder but full of warmth, not warning. Their sounds echo and fade, mixing with the last rustle of wind through grass. The insects begin their song, a slow, steady rhythm that carries through the air like the heartbeat of night retaining. As the sun slips behind the far hills, the world turns gold one final time. Everything, the rivers, the trees, the bodies of the resting herds, glows in one long breath of light before shadow takes its place. The sky burns softly, then cools into violet. Stars begin to blink through the fading warmth. The air grows still again, wrapped in quiet. And as the first darkness settles across the plains, the golden light lingers just long enough to kiss the edges of the world goodbye. The baby dinosaurs close their eyes, the adults lower their heads, and all life sinks slowly into rest. The day is done. The sky has turned golden, a promise that tomorrow will come again, gentle and new, when the earth wakes once more beneath the calm and endless sun. Night drifts quietly down into the valley, like a blanket woven from shadow and starlight. The last traces of golden sunset fade behind the hills, leaving the world washed in soft blue and silver. The air cools gently, brushing against the grass, carrying the faint scent of water and earth. Everything slows. Everything listens. The valley, once full of movement and sound, begins to fall into stillness. The herds have found their resting place, a wide hollow ring by trees whose leaves shimmer faintly in the moonlight. The ground is soft and damp, warm from the day's sun, but cooling now under the quiet air. The great dinosaurs lie close together, their shapes blending into one another, their breathing slow and deep. Each exhale rises in a soft cloud before fading into the night. Around them, the young ones curl into small hollows in the grass, pressed close to the warmth of their families. The sounds of life continue, but only in whispers. The leaves rustle when the breeze moves through the trees, a delicate murmur that fades as quickly as it begins. Somewhere in the distance, water drips steadily from a stone ledge, each drop landing with a soft, hollow note. A tiny creature scurries through the undergrowth, pausing now and then, its movement almost part of the silence itself. The insects hum low, a gentle vibration rather than a song, blending into the breath of the valley. Above, the stars stretch wide, clear and countless. Their light falls softly through the air, not sharp but patient, shimmering faintly where it touches a mist. The moon hangs over the valley like a lantern made of ice, its reflection trembling in the river below. The water flows slowly, smooth and dark, carrying the pale glimmer of starlight in its ripples. The sound of it is faint, not rushing or roaring, only whispering against the stones. Even the wind moves differently now. It no longer stays the trees or bends the grass. It sighs through the valley in long, gentle breaths, like the world itself is sleeping. Every movement feels slower, softer, the quiet rhythm of life at rest. The baby dinosaurs shift now and then, their tails brushing the ground, their tiny bodies sinking deeper into warmth. One lets out a soft chirp in its sleep, answered by nothing but the sigh of the wind. The night carries a deep peace, the kind that fills every space without making a sound. It is not empty. It is full of rest, of calm, of unseen things that breathe and wait. The mountains that rise around the valley stand silent and dark, their peaks glowing faintly. Where the moonlight touches them, the forest beyond lies unmoving, its shadows deep but kind. Even time seems to pause here, hovering between one breath and the next. The air grows cooler as the night deepens. The stars seem closer now, their light gentler, their presence endless. The herds sleep on, their forms rising and falling in slow rhythm. The sound of their breathing blends with the wind and the water, forming a quiet harmony that belongs only to the dark. Nothing stays. Nothing calls. The valley has fallen completely into silence, not the silence of emptiness, but of completion, of peace. The earth is resting, the sky is watching, and every creature within this hidden hollow dreams under the same calm stars. In the stillness, the world feels eternal, a single heartbeat stretched across time, steady and soft. And though morning waits beyond the horizon, the valley belongs, for now, to the silence, deep, tender, and endless, holding all life in its gentle arms until the first light returns. The world opens to the sea, wide, shimmering, and endless beneath the soft light of the moon. The air is warm here, heavy with salt and the quiet hum of waves touching shore. The sand glows faintly under the night sky, pale gold and silver mixed together. The water moves slowly, folding over itself in calm rhythms, a heartbeat of the ancient earth. Each wave arrives with a whisper, then fades back into silence, leaving tiny ripples that glisten in the starlight. Along this peaceful shore, the baby marine dinosaurs play near the edge of the tide. Their small, sleek bodies glimmer in the moonlight, patterned with faint blues and greens that seem to glow whenever the water touches them. The sea is shallow here, warm as breath, full of life too small to see. Every movement stays tiny sparks, plankton that shine when disturbed, turning each splash into a constellation of light. The babies move through it slowly, leaving trails of blue fire behind them. The night hums with calm. The waves make no crash, only a soft murmur like wind moving through leaves. The air smells of salt and coral, of life beneath the surface. The moon, high and bright, stretches its reflection across the sea like a ribbon of silver, breaking and reforming with each gentle wave. The babies follow it, fascinated by the way it seems to move and breathe, always just beyond reach. Some float lazily in the shallows, their flippers drifting just beneath the surface. Others swim in slow circles, their small calls echoing faintly across the water, high, melodic notes that rise and fall like the sea itself breathing. The adults rest nearby, larger shapes half submerged in the glowing tide, their eyes open but calm. Now and then, one exhales, sending a quiet mist into the air that catches the moonlight before fading. Beneath the surface, the ocean glows with life. Threads of light twist and flicker in the water, jello-like shapes moving in silence, schools of tiny fish passing in silver flashes, and slow shadows gliding deeper below. The sea feels endless, yet comforting, a vast cradle of warmth and sound. The babies dive and rise again, their movements graceful and dreamlike, their reflections rippling across the glowing water. The world here is quiet but not still. Each moment carries a soft rhythm of life, waves folding, creatures stirring, sand shifting under the tide. The sound of it blends into a lullaby that seems to come from everywhere at once. When the wind passes, it carries a faint song, not of words, but of motion, of ocean breath and moonlight shimmer. The babies gather close, floating together like petals on water. Their small voices rise again, a series of gentle notes that echo softly across the bay. The sound travels over the surface, touching the cliffs, the palms, the shells scattered along the shore. It returns as a faint echo, carried by the sea breeze, as if the ocean itself is answering them. Far out in the deeper water, something large moves, not quickly, not with fear, but with calm weight. The light from the plankton outlines its vast shape for an instant before it fades again. The babies do not notice. They are safe here, near the warm shallows, where the adults stand watching the waves remain kind. The sea holds them the way the land holds herds, protective, patient, eternal. As the night deepens, the moon rises higher. Its reflection stretches farther across the sea, and the glow of the plankton softens to a dim shimmer. The air cools slightly, and the babies grow slower, their movements gentle and tired. They drift closer to shore, curling their bodies in the shallow water. The sand molds softly around them, warm beneath the thin layer of waves. The sound of the ocean becomes slower too, like a giant breathing in sleep. The water glows faintly with every pulse, every movement, every sigh. Above, the stars shimmer, reflected in the sea until it is impossible to tell where sky ends and water begins. The babies close their eyes. The waves cradle them, rocking in time with the earth's slow rhythm. The sea hums quietly, an ancient voice, older than land, older than time. And as the tide rises and falls, the echoes of the ancient ocean carry their dreams, tiny hearts beating softly beneath the same moon that has always watched the world sleep. Time, in those ancient days, was not a thing that hurried. It drifted, soft and patient, like clouds across an endless sky. The world breathed in long, calm rhythms, the rise of sunlight, the hush of evening, the steady pulse of rain and growth. Nothing rushed forward. Nothing demanded change. Every moment unfolded gently, as if the earth itself were dreaming and the dream had no reason to end. The days were long and slow, filled with light that seemed to last forever. The sun climbed quietly, spreading warmth across forests and plains, then lingered in the sky before sinking behind soft hills. Shadows stretched slowly, pools of light moved over leaves and stone, and even the wind seemed to wander rather than travel. Every sound, the rustle of trees, the call of distant herds, the hum of insects, fit perfectly into the rhythm of stillness. The baby dinosaurs grew within this calm, their changes too gradual to see. Each day, they grew a little taller, their steps a little surer, their colors a little deeper in the sun. But to the world, it was not change, it was continuation. Growth was not a race here, it was part of breathing, part of existing. The grass grew when it was ready, the rivers flowed at their own pace, and even the mountains seemed to move slowly, rising and wearing down with infinite patience. Morning came, not as a command, but as a soft whisper of light through mist. The herds awoke without hurry, their movements matching the still rhythm of the land. They walked together through dew-covered fields, their bodies brushing against ferns heavy with droplets that sparkled in the sun. When they stopped to eat, the sound of their chewing blended with the breeze, steady, peaceful, eternal. When rain fell, it came without warning but also without fear. It moved slowly across the sky, wrapping everything in cool gray. The herd stood quietly beneath it, feeling the drops slide down their backs. The ground soaked in the water with ease, sighing softly as the soil darkened and the scent of life deepened. The babies watched the rain without curiosity or worry. It was simply part of time, as natural as sunlight, as gentle as rest. Even night did not hurry to arrive. The sky dimmed gradually, the colors fading one by one until only blue remained. The stars appeared like old friends returning home, their light soft and steady. The herds lay down as the world cooled, their breaths matching the rhythm of the wind. Time did not press them forward. It simply held them, a still hand cradling a quiet world. The earth beneath them moved, though no one could feel it. The continents drifted, mountains shifted, seeds carried by wind began new forests far away. But it all happened so slowly that even eternity seemed to pause and listen. There was no rush toward tomorrow, no hunger for what came next. The only purpose was to exist, to breathe, to grow, to rest, to begin again. For the baby dinosaurs, time was not something to count or chase. It was a warmth of sunlight on their skin, the taste of rain on their tongues, the sound of the river that never stopped flowing. Every second felt like forever, and every forever felt kind. And as they lay beneath the stars, their small hearts beating in time with the steady rhythm of the earth, time continued to drift, soft, patient, endless. It did not hurry them toward the future. It simply carried them gently through the quiet cycles of life. The world turned slowly, wrapped in peace, and all things, great and small, moved with it, unafraid of the waiting, unbothered by the passing, content to simply be. The night deepens until the world feels weightless, wrapped in darkness and calm. The stars hang quietly above, their light trembling on the surface of rivers and leaves. The air is still, carrying only the faint scent of damp earth and wildflowers that have long since closed their petals. The herds have gone silent. Every sound, even the whisper of the wind, has softened into a hush. It is the hour when everything sleeps, when the earth seems to exhale, slow and deep. The ground beneath the herds is warm. It hums with a gentle rhythm, almost too soft to notice, a low vibration, steady and constant, as if the planet itself were breathing. The babies feel it even in their dreams. They lie pressed close to one another, their small bodies curved in quiet comfort, their sides rising and falling in time with that invisible pulse. To them, the earth is not just a ground beneath their feet. It is something alive, something that cradles them like a parent's hand. The warmth seems to come from everywhere. From the soil, rich and dark, full of life unseen. From the stones that still hold the day's sunlight. From the roots of great trees that stretch deep below, carrying the slow heartbeat of the world through their ancient veins. Even the air carries it, a faint shimmer of energy that makes the night feel full, not empty. It is a warmth that soothes, that holds, that says, rest now, you are safe. The babies dream within that warmth. In their minds, the world moves softly, rivers glowing beneath the moon, leaves turning like gentle hands, clouds drifting through golden skies. Their dreams blend with the earth's memory, stories older than themselves. Perhaps they see the first light that ever touched the land, or the first rain that fell upon it. Perhaps they feel the quiet joy of roots spreading underground, of mountains forming, of oceans breathing in the moon's pool. Whatever they dream, it is peaceful. It belongs to the rhythm of everything around them. The adults sleep lightly, their vast bodies still but alert. When they exhale, their breath rises in slow clouds that drift upward, joining the mist. Their eyes close halfway, but they are listening, not for danger, but for the song beneath them. It is a hum of the earth itself, a low, endless vibration that moves through stone and water, through root and bone. It has no beginning and no end. It is the sound of existence, calm, ancient, alive. Far below the surface, deep within the earth's heart, heat flows quietly. It rises through the layers of soil, warming the roots, the burrows, the sleeping bodies above. It is the same heat that has burned since the world was young, the same glow that shaped mountains and gave light to the first dawn. The babies do not know this, yet they feel it, that deep and steady life beneath their dreams. It is the pulse of the planet, carrying them through sleep like a cradle rocking through eternity. Above, the night sky stretches endlessly, filled with stars that shimmer like reflections in still water. The moon moves slowly, casting a silver path across the valley. Each beam of light touches something alive, a leaf, a feather, a sleeping creature, and lingers there for a heartbeat before moving on. The light, too, feels part of the same breath, drawn in and released over and over across the surface of the world. The valley hums quietly, filled with unseen warmth. The grass sways slightly, though there is no wind. The water of the river glows faintly where moonlight touches it. Even the stones seem to sigh, their edges softening under the night's gentle touch. The world is not still, it is breathing. It always has been. The babies stir now and then, shifting closer to one another. Their dreams deepen, merging with a hum beneath them. The ground feels alive, full of soft power and infinite patience. The earth does not sleep, it only rests, keeping watch, carrying the weight of time and life in silence. And so, the world dreams too, of forests and seas, of creatures that come and go, of sunlight yet to rise. In its dream, everything is warm, everything connected, everything whole. The herds, the rivers, the air, and the stars, all part of one quiet, endless heartbeat. The night holds steady. The earth breathes on. The babies sleep in peace, carried by the hum of creation itself. A sound so soft it could be mistaken for silence, yet within it, the whole world lives, and dreams, and waits for morning. The sky stretches forever, vast and weightless, spilling over the horizon like an ocean made of light. The last traces of sunset fade into deep blue, and one by one, the stars awaken, soft, steady, endless. They fill the heavens in quiet patterns, some bright, some barely visible, all of them glowing like slow thoughts drifting across the night. The world below is silent, but the air above hums gently with the movement of the universe. The herds sleep across the plains, their great forms outlined in silver moonlight. The grass sways faintly around them, whispering to the wind. Above, the stars seem close, so close they might be touched if one only reached high enough. The babies lift their sleepy eyes for a moment, watching the sky open like a dream. Their reflections glint faintly in the calm pools left by rain. The stars shimmer in those pools, as though the earth is holding its own sky. Far to the east, a thin streak of light cuts across the heavens, a meteor, glowing white, then fading into nothing. Another follows, slower, its tail bright and golden. The babies blink, their eyes wide with quiet wonder. They do not know what these lights mean, only that they move like gentle thoughts, like the breath of time made visible. The sky above seems alive, slow and eternal, telling stories without sound. The wind begins to move, calm and wide, sweeping through the grass like a hand smoothing a blanket. It carries a scent of distant water, of ferns, of warm earth cooling under starlight. When it passes through the trees, it makes a sound like voices, soft, wordless, full of memory. The sound travels far across the valley, rising and fading, a lullaby older than any creature that sleeps beneath it. The stars seem to shimmer in rhythm, as though the whole sky is listening. The moon glides higher, pale and full, lighting the tops of the trees and the ridges of distant hills. It touches every surface, rivers, leaves, sleeping forms, and turns them silver. Even the shadows glow faintly, filled with quiet light. The air feels weightless now, as though it could lift everything upward, as though the world itself is breathing in the rhythm of the sky. The babies lie close together, their bodies warm against the cool earth. The adults sleep around them, steady and unmoving, their breath deep and slow. When the wind brushes past, it stays small ripples in their skin, lifting bits of grass, carrying tiny seeds into the night. Somewhere far off, water laps quietly against stone, keeping time with the soft beat of the wind. High above, meteors continue to drift, silent and slow, tracing brief arcs across the endless dark. Some burn bright and fade in a blink. Others glow faintly, dissolving into the sea of stars. Each one seems to move at the same pace as the earth below, calm, patient, eternal. The night stretches on without sound or edge. Time feels lighter here, as if even it has paused to rest. The wind changes direction, carrying warmth now, a breath from far-off deserts or ancient seas. It glides through the plains, over the herds, through the forests, touching everything and leaving peace behind. It moves like a song too old to remember, a sound the earth hums to itself when everything is safe. The babies hear it even in their dreams, a soft pulse that rises and falls like their mother's breath. The stars shimmer more brightly now, their light steady and endless. The meteors fade one by one, leaving the sky quiet again. The moon lowers slightly, brushing the edge of the horizon with silver light. The plains sleep beneath it, calm and infinite, as if the entire world were breathing the same soft breath. And high above, in that vast and endless sky, the universe moves gently on, stars glowing, winds whispering, time drifting, carrying lullabies across the sleeping earth, promising that morning will come again, slow and kind, beneath the same eternal light. The night has deepened into something beyond darkness, a stillness so complete that even the stars seem to drift slower across the sky. The world lies beneath them, vast and silent, wrapped in the silver light of the moon. The forests, the rivers, the mountains, and the plains have all quieted into a single breath. Nothing moves now except the mist that slides gently over the sleeping herds, curling around their shapes like soft, transparent cloth. The air is cool and tender, heavy with the scent of earth after rain. The last winds of evening fade, leaving behind only the faint rhythm of the planet's own heartbeat, a sound too low to hear, yet felt in every grain of soil, in every resting creature. It is a hum of life itself, calm and endless,